When you take a body that has been optimized for sitting at a desk all day and then ask it to perform at a high level in the gym, you are a back injury waiting to happen. Now, if you want to learn how to avoid that pain as well and undo the damage caused by sitting all day and restore your body to the strong athletic body you were born to be, make sure you watch this video through to the end. There is no other exercise that will more efficiently build strength and muscle mass than the deadlift. This king of all exercises trains nearly every muscle in your body at the same time and is beloved by nearly everyone in the strength community. I say nearly everyone because there are some that believe this exercise is too dangerous and will inevitably lead to a back injury. This is complete nonsense. The truth is, if your body is not sufficiently prepared to perform a high-quality deadlift, then yes, you are at an increased risk of injuring your back while performing this exercise. That is why I made this video, to show you how to prepare your body to effectively perform a deadlift safely. In this video, I describe in detail why you need to be performing 3 specific hip mobility and 3 specific core stability exercises to prepare your body to safely pick up heavy weights off of the floor. If you'd prefer to skip right ahead to the exercises, I do have chapters listed in the timeline at the bottom of this video. Fundamentally, we must understand that our bodies adapt over time to become optimized for the tasks that we ask our bodies to perform. So if we spend a significant portion of our days in a seated position, we are sending a message to our bodies to get better at sitting. So if you have been stuck behind a desk for the last several years or decades earning a living to support your family, recognize that your body is optimized for sitting. Taking a body that is optimized for sitting into the gym and picking up heavy weights off of the floor as we do when we deadlift is a great way to hurt your low back. In 20% of all the people that experience back pain just one time, that back pain becomes chronic. And of all the friends we want to accompany us as we age, chronic low back pain is not one of them. This is a topic that hits particularly close to home for me, as when I was 20 years old, I injured my low back, herniating 2 discs in my lumbar spine, and it took me the better part of 10 years to break the cycle of chronic low back pain. That pain I experienced was one of the main reasons I left my career in sales to become a health and fitness coach, so I could not only get out of that vicious cycle of chronic pain and avoid the accompanying deterioration in my ability to live a high quality of life as I aged, but so that I could help others do the same. Now, if you want to learn how to avoid that pain as well and undo the damage caused by sitting all day and restore your body to the strong athletic body you were born to be, make sure you watch this video through to the end and go ahead and hit that subscribe button to learn more ways to live longer and live stronger. First, let's understand how our bodies adapt to sitting all day and the physical changes that accompany those adaptations, so we know exactly what we're up against and what we need to undo before we go into the gym to lift those heavy weights that are going to help us restore the strength of our youth. Adaptation number 1 is tight hips. You've probably experienced this for yourself. After spending a couple hours sitting at your desk, you get up to move around and you feel as though someone injected superglue directly into your hips. Now, you probably loosen up a bit once you get up and moving, but don't let that fool you. That tightness and stickiness you feel in your hips builds over time and causes physical adaptations, as it'll cause your hip flexors to shorten and your hamstrings to lengthen, and it'll cause all those muscles around your hips to lose their ability to lengthen and alternatively contract, which is necessary to facilitate all movements. Essentially, that is all that muscles do. They either lengthen or they contract. And all human movement is a symphony of certain muscles contracting while other muscles are relaxing. Spending hours at a time in a fixed seated position, which is all too common in our world today, leads to a physical shortening of the muscles on the front side of our hips and a lengthening of the muscles on the back side of our hips. In both cases, this leads to a feeling of tightness, stiffness, and weakness, a loss of elasticity in those muscles, and the deterioration of our ability to alternatively lengthen or contract those muscles. Long story short, prolonged periods of sitting causes the muscles of our hips to become both tight and weak, which is the exact opposite of what we want. In order to perform at our peak, we want muscles that are both flexible and strong, especially in our hips. Adaptation number 2 is weak core muscles. This adaptation might be a little less obvious to most of us, but make no mistake about it, prolonged periods of sitting are a primary cause of that flabby and weak belly. Now, when we exercise, we demand our muscles to contract and relax over and over again in order to execute the movement that is required to perform that exercise. And over time, our bodies will adapt at getting better at lengthening and contracting those muscles in order to improve our ability to perform those exercises. Now, the inverse of this is also true. When we sit for prolonged periods of time, we send a message to our muscles to simply take a break. And shocker, over time, our muscles get really good at taking a break, especially our abdominal muscles that lose their ability to generate force by contracting that is necessary to stabilize our core. This study here showed that the abdominal muscles are twice as active when we are simply standing than when we are sitting. If we allow our core muscles to become weak and we then engage in any exercise or activity that demands a strong core, the result is an injury. Of all the exercises that demand a strong core, the deadlift is at the top of the list. For this reason, the deadlift, which is the king of all exercises, gets a bad rap as a low back killer. It's not that there's any problem with the exercise. The problem is that for so many of us, we don't have the core strength necessary to perform this exercise safely. So we have two options. We can either avoid this phenomenal exercise and miss out on all the strength benefits it has to offer, or we could strengthen our cores so that we can perform this exercise safely. Now, if you're watching this video, I'm sure like me, you've decided that avoiding this exercise altogether is simply not an option. So now that we fully understand all the problems caused by prolonged periods of sitting, let's get to the solutions. Tight hips are the first maladaptation that we identified. So here are 3 mobility drills that will help you banish those stiff hips and restore your healthy, full range of motion. Begin standing with your feet close together. Slowly step back with your right foot, lowering your right knee to the ground. Place your left hand on the bottom of the left side of your rib cage. Reach your right arm up and over, rotating your torso slightly to the left. As you inhale, expand the right side of your rib cage. As you exhale, feel the left side of your rib cage driving down towards the floor. After 5 to 10 breaths, step forward and repeat on the other side. When you lower your left knee to the floor, we want that left knee directly underneath your hips. So there's a straight line from your left knee to your hips to your shoulders. Now tuck your tailbone underneath you, eliminating any rounding in your low back. Contract your left glute muscles to facilitate this. Drive your ribs down by contracting your abdominal muscles. You should feel a stretch in your hip flexors and quads in the front of your left hip. Again, we want to hold this position for 5 to 10 breaths before switching to the other side.
Our next movement is a supine figure 4. So start with your feet up against a wall. We're looking for about a 90-degree bend at your knees, so scoot yourself forward or back as needed to facilitate that. Once again, we want to start off with a flat, low back, so gently tuck your tailbone under to achieve that. And we're going to go ahead and take the right ankle and cross it on top of the right knee. Now, just getting to this position might feel pretty tight for some of you. If you feel a sufficient stretch here in that hip, just hanging out here, just hang out. Spend about a minute here. If you're looking to go a little bit deeper, we have a couple of different options. Option number 1 is gently pushing that knee towards the wall. Option number 2 is gently pulling that right knee up and over towards that left shoulder. I'm going to be hitting some different muscles here in the hip, depending on whether you're pulling that knee up or pushing it away. Both aspects here are key for hip mobility, so feel free to work back and forth between these two positions, holding each one once you get to that end range for 2 or 3 seconds before coming right back up. One final option here is, if it's available, to reach your hands through to grab your left leg just below the knee. And then I want you to go ahead and pull that knee up into your chest. You feel a nice deep stretch in that right hip here. We're going to spend about a minute on each side. So we start off in the top of that push-up position, hands underneath the shoulders, stepping right back. Get stable here, gripping the ground with all 10 fingers, pulling your shoulders away from your ears, pushing your chest away from your body. I'm going to step my right foot all the way up, trying to get the toes of my right foot in line with my fingertips. Really get strong, pushing that right foot down firmly into the floor, making sure that the hands are directly underneath my face.
I'm going to drop my right elbow down towards that right heel. And then on my exhale, rotating, opening up, reaching those fingers up towards the ceiling, trying to maintain the length through my spine, reaching back through the heel of that left foot, keeping that left leg straight, reaching forward with the crown of your head. We inhale, drop the elbow towards the heel. Exhale, open up, reaching those fingertips up towards the ceiling. We'll do that 3 times on one side. Step that right foot back. Step that left foot forward, keeping that back leg straight, really driving that left foot down through the floor. Inhale, drop that elbow towards the heel. Exhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Inhale, elbow down. Exhale, reach up. 3 times, step back. Go right back to that right foot. We're going to do 3 rotations on each side, and we'll cycle through that 3 times per leg. Weak core muscles are the second problem child that we identified. So here are 3 core strengthening exercises that'll give you the foundation that you need to lift heavy weights in the gym safely.
So let's go ahead and start on your back. Again, you feel free to put a pillow underneath your head. Again, starting off with flat low back, tucking that tailbone under. Let's go ahead and bring up one knee at a time, making sure that we don't start to round that back as we do so. And we're going to do what's called an isometric dead bug. So isometric meaning we're not actually going to be moving anything, but we want to be contracting our muscles in a fixed state. So they're not going to be lengthening or shortening. And we do this by working against ourselves, fighting ourselves, creating our own resistance. So we have the knees up. We're going to place our hands right below the knees. Make sure you're not holding on here. This is going to be a stability exercise, so it's going to involve a lot of muscles contracting. This isn't just here for relaxation. So we have those knees at 90 degrees, open palms. Let's take a deep breath in, feeling that expansion horizontally through the rib cage on that inhale. And then on that exhale, through pursed lips, we push those knees into your hands, pushing your hands into your knees, feeling your ribs driving down towards your hips and your abdominal muscles contracting as hard as possible. Then on that next inhale, we could expand again. And every time we do this, we want to practice forcing these muscles in our midsection, those deep abdominal muscles, to contract even harder. So each repetition should feel harder than the one that preceded it. We want to do this for a minimum of 10 breaths.
Now that we've practiced creating a stable core in a static position, this next exercise incorporates the movement of our arms and legs, giving us an opportunity to practice creating a stable core while moving, getting us one step closer to being ready to deadlift.
Before bringing those legs up, make sure we have that tailbone tucked under and that low back is nice and flat. I like to initiate the movement by bringing the arms up first, reaching up, bring your chest an inch or so off of the ground, create some tension there in the abdominal muscles. We'll bring up one knee to 90 degrees and then the other, maintaining that tension through the belly. I'm going to slowly reach out with my left hand and my right leg staying nice and tight so that back doesn't start to round. If there's any tension on your neck when doing this exercise, feel free to lower your head down to the ground. Opposite arm and opposite leg. Reach out, stopping with that heel just an inch off of the ground, coming right back. If you are unable to maintain that stability here and we start to round your back, another option here is to keep the knee bent at 90 degrees, only moving as far as you can while you're able to maintain that flat low back. There's no necessity for that heel to go all the way down to the ground. Go as far as you can while being able to maintain this tension in your belly, to maintain that stability through the midsection without dumping into the lumbar spine. Slow and controlled. Breathe in as we reach out. Breathe out as we bring it back together. And we want to repeat this for 60 seconds. Take your time. Slow and stable is the name of this game.
Lie on your back with your feet flat on the floor. Reach both arms up towards the ceiling, bringing both legs straight up. Reach up towards your toes, then slowly lower your legs and your arms, reaching overhead behind you. The key with this exercise is keeping your abdominal muscles braced and maintaining a flat low back. Only lower your legs and arms as far as you can while maintaining a flat back. If your back begins to round, start over. Hold this position for 20 seconds. As you build strength, you can lower your legs further and challenge yourself to hold this position for longer. As a thank you for watching this video all the way to the end, you can find a link to a free mobility program in the pinned comment of this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out this next video right here, and I'll see you there.